Hi, friends. This is Eshelman, your host for Unmuted Love, the place where we talk about the nitty-gritty in the lives of parents of children from difficult beginnings. Today, we're going straight into the heart of something parents tell me all the time. My kid is so entitled. They think they deserve anything and everything they want, and right now. And if they don't get it, they blow the F up. Yep, that's a direct quote. If you're parenting a child from difficult beginnings, this isn't a rare thought. It's daily life. I know it. I thought it. And the feeling you have as a parent is oh so real. But like in so many other behaviors that children from difficult beginnings have, it isn't what any of us really think. One moment, your kid is delightful, cooperative, even generous. The next, they're acting like the rules of the universe shouldn't apply to them, especially not when you say no to them. And I mean no about anything and in every kind of work around to not say the word no. Okay? It happens anyway, am I right? And the stakes feel high, don't they? Because they might resort to violence toward you or toward a sibling, or they go to their rooms and slip out the window into the night, or they turn around and smash the TV to bits when you draw the line. I have lived this, so I know the trepidation you live with. You're not just trying to get through today, you're trying to raise a decent human being while surviving the tornadoes. So what do you do when your child's behavior seems entitled, feels entitled, is entitled? I know there is also a little niggling thought that this is really some kind of trauma response. Well, I hope you're feeling that anyway, because it is that. It isn't usually entitlement, it is fear wearing entitlement's clothing. We're going to break it down now with, some compassion, of course, with our usual neuroscience, with the kind of honesty that lifts the weight off your shoulders instead of piling more on. Before we jump right in, though, I want to remind you that every episode of Unmuted Love comes with a focused learning printable for parents to bring the learning here home. If you want it, go to patreon.com/unmutedlove to subscribe. That's patreon.com/unmutedlove. What is entitlement actually? Well, real entitlement sounds like this. I get what I want because I'm special. Or other people should accommodate me because I deserve that. Or rules are for everyone else, not me. Or you owe me what I want. So entitlement is a belief system rooted in over-accommodation, lack of limits, adults doing too much for the child, kids doing too little for themselves, and comfort prioritized over competence and hard work. It's learned, it's reinforced. And if you have neurotypical kids who've grown up cushioned from frustration, it can absolutely take root. There are such things as, dare I say it, spoiled children, spoiled brats. Often children who have been given everything learn to expect everything they want and blow their lids when they aren't treated expediently with accommodation. Children from difficult beginnings almost never start out entitled. Granted everything they wanted when they wanted it. Definitely not, right? What now looks like entitlement usually began in deep attachment and trauma hardship, deficits of focused attention, and poverty of supports that's led to this kind of belief system. Here's how it sounds. There's never enough. Control keeps me safe. If I don't get what I want immediately, I will never get it. No means never. Adults are unpredictable. Yes today might be no tomorrow. No today will always be no. So while the behavior may match the look of entitlement, the internal wiring doesn't. Nope. What feels as a parent, right? It feels to you like entitlement doesn't match the internal wiring either. And that matters because the response that heals actual entitlement is very different from the response that heals dysregulation. And dysregulation is what you are looking at, not entitlement. It's incredibly hard for parents to believe this, but it is neurobiologically true. So let's take a second to explore dysregulation in our kids. Dysregulation is when the nervous system jumps into a survival state faster than your adult brain can say, whoa, here we go again. It isn't attitude or spoiled behavior, it's neurobiology. Here's what happens. You say no to something insignificant to you. I mean, even offhand, like, no, not right now. First, your child's amygdala fires up, right? Uh-oh, I must be in some kind of danger. That tiny almond-shaped alarm inside the midbrain says, danger, 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 gotta act fast. It doesn't care whether the danger is a bear on the path or the wrong color cup you gave them for their orange juice. Then the prefrontal cortex goes offline. And that's that front part of the brain where the thinking brain is, right? The logical brain. This is the part of the brain responsible for, like I said, logic, empathy, cause and effect thinking, impulse control, wait time, and flexibility of thought. During dysregulation, it's basically unplugged. It's offline. If we think of the midbrain amygdala as an overzealous smoke detector, The higher brain, the prefrontal cortex, is the fire chief who just left the building. Finally, after that, your child's body takes over. Heart rate spikes, breathing changes, muscles tense, cortisol floods, and your child reacts. Not thoughtfully, not maturely, not intentionally, instinctively to survive. It's a brain-body thing. Any one or a progression of things occurs. Perhaps fight, give it to me, followed by badgering, or flight, I hate you, get out of my way, I'm leaving, or freeze, just a collapse and a shutdown, or fawning, a charm offensive happens, manipulation, distraction, anything to get what they want. These reactions look like entitlement because they're intense, they're fast, they're demanding, and they're self-centered. But they're driven by threat perception, not spoiled wants. So I know your question here might be, why it's so hard to tell the difference? Well, let me tell you the truth from an extremely seasoned therapist-y point of view, that's mine. Entitled behavior and dysregulated behavior look and feel identical from the outside. No one can tell the difference on the face of it. So give yourself a break. You can't tell. Both of those things include big feelings, otherwise known as meltdowns and tantrums, and demands, refusing limits, blaming others, power struggles, I want what I want moments right now. But the engine underneath is completely different. What's driving it is different. If your child's reactions feel panicked, primal, or outsized, they're probably dysregulation if they come from difficult beginnings. Most of our trauma-impacted kids fall squarely into the dysregulation category, but you can only know your child's story to really know that it's dysregulation versus simple spoiled entitlement. So what is your child's story? Did they lose their natural parent? Did they experience other trauma? Or did they have you, loving, adoring, natural parents from conception with no apparent trauma? These questions really matter because the answers really matter. Let's talk about the word that causes about 82% of household meltdowns. It's the word no. For a securely attached, regulated nervous system, no is information. It can cause a little upset for sure in any kid. But the dysregulation is a little cry, some rolling around on the floor, you give a hug, and some hiccuping sniffs occur, and then it's usually over. Not always, but often. If the child's a teen, then you might get the huffy stomping away with a slammed door for punctuation. For a child with a trauma history, though, developmental adversity or blocked trust, no hits like a neurobiological bomb. Why? Well, because the early brain learned no equals unmet needs, unreliable adults, deprivation anxiety, abandonment, threat of death even. And no equals some kind of terror of extinction. If you say no, I'll never get it and I might die. So the word no doesn't land as a simple boundary. It lands as a threat to survival. The brain says, if I don't fight for this, I might lose everything. Boom, meltdown, demanding control, intensity, the whole protest storm happens. This is why your child may rage, sob, bargain, or collapse over what looks like nothing to you. The reaction is outsized because the threat underneath is outsized. You're probably wondering, okay, see, how do I know which I'm dealing with then? I don't know if you will ever know, but here are some tips, okay? 1, the speed of escalation. Entitlement escalates slowly. It's kind of annoyance, it moves to argument, and then persistence. Dysregulation escalates instantly, 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. 2, post-meltdown state. Entitled child, still mad, still blaming, still righteous. Dysregulated child, disoriented, exhausted, confused, remorseful. Sensory overwhelm. Entitled kids get sharper, sassier, more calculated. Dysregulated kids get louder, faster, hotter, more frenetic, and they make less and less sense. 4, their eyes. Trauma parents know this one without being taught. There's a difference between I want my way eyes and I'm terrified and losing control eyes. Am I right? If you don't know yet, then pay a little more attention to your child's eyes before and after you say no. Okay, 5, recovery time. Entitlement has a much shorter recovery time once your boundary is accepted, right? If you hold boundaries well, the recovery time for this is very short because your child knows that no means no. If you have weaker boundaries, no judgment here. I've been a parent. I know what it's like to have some weak boundaries. Then you're in for a long, drawn-out battle. Dysregulation has a long tail. Nervous system exhaustion, remorse eventually, though not always, and sometimes a return to the big outburst when reminded about the issue again. So here are 9 parenting traps that accidentally grow entitlement, okay? So let me help you help yourself. Even dysregulated kids can learn entitlement behavior if the environment trains it, so beware. Here are the top entitlement traps. Saying yes when you want to say no. Doing things for them they can do for themselves. Rescuing every mistake of theirs. Avoiding or collapsing boundaries to avoid their meltdowns. Using treats or rewards to buy peace. Paying kids for basic family contributions or teamwork. Praise inflation, saying you're amazing for just breathing. Buying what they want instead of helping them earn it. And skipping gratitude practices like saying thank you to people, writing thank you notes, doing kindnesses for those who've done kindnesses for them. These traps aren't moral failings, they're exhaustion coping strategies. You're not alone in falling into them, not at all. And frankly, you can step right back out, especially if you have support. Parents in my Love Matters Therapeutic Parent Program get support to learn how to hold boundaries for the healing impact it has on the entire family. Holding boundaries is actually quite hard, and you need a lot of adult support around you who understand what you're trying to do and for the purposes you're trying to do them so that you can stay the course. All right, let's turn this ship in the direction of healing then. I want you to know that co-regulation first and always. So remember that when you're dealing with a dysregulated child who sounds entitled, co-regulation first, always. A dysregulated brain cannot learn, reason, or behave, period. Your regulation becomes their borrowed anchor, their safety. That means regulate yourself first, then them, right? So it's co-regulation, but only after you're regulated, because co-regulation doesn't exist if you're not regulated. Number 2, create warm, firm boundaries. Not rigid ones, not permissive ones, warm clarity. Boundaries tell the nervous system the world is predictable. You're safe. I won't disappear on you, and you're not in charge of me or the universe. Number 3, stop rescuing. Start supporting your child to do for themselves. Mistakes build resilience. Rescuing builds entitlement. Support builds capacity, capability, and competence. Well, the 3 C's. Number 4, build belonging through contribution. Kids learn responsibility by practicing responsibility, right? Kids learn responsibility by practicing responsibility. Contribution tells the brain, I matter to the group. My presence affects others. I can help. Start young. If you start in the teen years, you're going to have a lot of pushback. So start young with basic small chores and on their own time. So don't be demanding about it. Instead, be generous about it. Hey, when you can, how about you pick up your shoes? That's contributing to the family on their own time, so you don't get a lot of pushback from kids who need a lot of personal power and a personal control of their safety. It's very hard to do if you didn't start this from the very beginning of bringing your child home. And folks, you can do hard things. If you didn't, then start now. Get support because it'll continue to be hard for quite some time. There are times to lower the family contribution demands, but I have talked about that in other episodes, so I won't go into that more now. Number 5 is to regulate your own nervous system. If you're bracing for their reaction, they feel it. Their system tells them that you're not able to hold steady, hold strong, or contain them emotionally. If you feel trapped, they sense the weakness in the boundary, and in survival mode, they will push harder. Your regulation is ultimate stability. Have some compassion for yourself. You don't have to be perfect, just good enough, right? Just good enough regulated as often as you can. And number 6, teach recovery and repair. After the storm, reconnect. Narrate what happened. Sometimes I call that the life space interview. Offer safety, invite repair, offer accountability and restorative justice, and share gratitude together that the storm's passed. This isn't permissiveness like it can sometimes feel. It's rewiring and repairing. So parents, what do you think? Is your child entitled or dysregulated? Maybe you're right. They're just plain old entitled. But more often, I say this with certitude because I've worked with hundreds of families in all these years. They are dysregulated. They're scared. They're overwhelmed by sensations and emotions they can't yet manage. And they're using control as a survival device with warmth, with boundaries, with regulation, and always in relationship. A parent who understands the difference between a child who thinks they deserve everything and a child whose nervous system is begging not to feel overwhelming despair at the loss of anything. This is as hard as it feels, and you're amazing humans in this parenting world. Be sure to do every single bit of self-care you can in everyday moments. You matter, and so does your love, when more than love is required. I'll see you in the next episode, and until next time, big love to all of you listeners out there.